Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? Thank you, Karen. You're looking pretty good today. Oop, you are on mute, so you have to click on your screen. There is a, are you on a phone or on a laptop?
On the phone. Did that work?
You got it. I can hear you. Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm just going to be eating dinner, so
Okay.
I'll
Perfect.
be
Perfect.
on mute,
Perfect.
but I'm listening.
Okay. Um, let me see if I can. Awesome. I see you got papers and pen ready to take some good notes. I don't know if you can read that. I'm still practicing improving my handwriting and my drawing. You can take some time to see if you can draw that house of holistic health, or in other words, house of holistic wealth. It's a picture of a house. On the bottom, the foundation of the house is the inner being. Okay, the inner being are the stuff that goes on inside of us, our emotions, our mind, our spirit. Okay, our health is one of the walls or the pillar that hold up our house. Our relationships is also one of the other pillars that hold up our house. And obviously on top is our financial and material well-being. So in this philosophy, what we're trying to do is we're going to try to reach a state of total health and happiness, which include building a strong foundation of our inner being. Okay, our strong mind, strong emotion, not strong emotion, but positive emotion. Okay, it's good spirit. And we go through the process of lighting up 7 holistic candles. The candle of our wisdom, the candle of our attitude, the candle of our character, the candle of our integrity, the candle of our physical vitality, our capability, and our material well-being. In fact, in this philosophy, we have a saying, if you are holistically rich in wisdom, in attitude, in character, in integrity, physical vitality, and capability, if we are holistically rich, then it is impossible to be materially poor. Okay. In fact, while we're waiting for other people to join us, just a quick review. If you take the pillar of our health and the pillar of our relationship to be the walls, and if our inner being is the foundation of our house, and let's say our finances, let's be screen for money, our finances are the roof, right? Have you noticed that there are people who spend a lot of time building this house from the roof down, right? They spend a lot of time and effort and many years making a lot of money. They get very rich materially. But they fail to take care of their health, for instance, right? Let's say they have a lot of money, but they fail to take care of their health, and then boom, you have no pillar to hold up this roof. So the finance also collapse. They use the finance to trade the health, right? Or other people who spend a lot of time making money, right? Working on the finance, spending a lot of time at work, for instance, and they don't take care of their relationship. If the relationship fall apart, for example, let's say they get divorced, if the relationship pillar collapse, guess what? Half of the finance also collapse, right? You notice that, right? Literally, when you get a divorce, half of your finance goes away. And if this house of holistic health, if our house of holistic health, if we spend a lot of time working on just the roof and we don't take care of our inner being, which is our emotional health, our physical, our mental health, our spiritual health, then this entire house collapsed and we got nothing. Okay, that is why in this philosophy, we begin with a picture called the House of Holistic Health, and it is also known as the House of Holistic Wealth. And we build it from the ground up. Okay. So I'll do a little bit of review for Karen while we're waiting for other people. Very grateful that you taking the time to join us today. Thank you, Ron, as well. I know this is his family time, but Ron and his wife, in the background, they have always graced us with their presence, spending their time, their dinner time listening, and then in a little bit, when they're done with dinner, they will be joining us and sharing with us some of their insight and their wisdom as well. Let me see if I have any more interesting stuff to share, just to give you a sense of what we did or have been doing. Let's go this one. Just some real quick slide. I'm not going to go into detail, just kind of give you a sense. Last week, we spent pretty much 24 hours. Okay, we went from 2 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock Saturday to 2 o'clock Sunday, just talking about health and happiness and how to take full ownership of our being, which is full ownership of our lives. Okay. We approach okay, that's fine. Oh, here we go. Let's see which are the important ones I want to share. Okay. So we study human nature. Okay, we study human nature. And human nature has things like desire. We have displeasure, satisfaction. We have things like ignorance and clarity. We have pride. We have skepticism. We have sense of ethic and judgment. And in the philosophy, we notice that the focus human nature is desire and imagination. Right? We want things. We're always wanting things. And we have thoughts about it. We have ideation about it. We have mental images about what we want. And what we want usually revolves around resources, which are money and power and influences. What we want is this appearance, our physical appearance, things, the way things look around us. What we want and need is a sense of identity, be recognized, be acknowledged, right? We have consumption. We consume food, we consume water, we consume news, information. And we have the need to rest, to recuperate. And all of the human nature, this is, will give rise to all of these basic needs about resources, appearance, identity, consumption, and rest will give rise to the other nature, which is displeasure, ignorance, pride, skepticism, ethic, judgment. Whether those needs are met or not, it will give rise to the complexity that we call human nature or the personalities. Okay, so this is the diagram that we call the human construct. This is how the human being is made up. From deep inside us, we have this true nature. This very simple will to hear, will to see, will to speak, and will to know. This is our image of God. Okay, God, in the beginning, there was nothing. And then God wills, God speaks, let there be light, and there was light. And human beings were also created in the image of God. We have this will, this free will. And in fact, in the Bible, when Moses asked, when God said, Moses, go tell the world about God. And Moses say, okay, who are you? What is your name? What should I say? And God simply say, I am. I am. Meaning it is a being, right? I be, so to speak. If you go back to the previous sharing, we'll go into detail of what that means. But human nature, we have, outside of this true nature, we have reception, which is taking things into ourselves. right? We have expression. We speak, we express ourselves. We have imagination, ideation, we think, okay? And we have cognition. This is the totality of our knowledge and awareness. As we go out into the sort of the mental or the human nature, we have desire, displeasure, ignorance, pride, skepticism, ethic, and judgment. This diagram, this human construct, is a combination of Zen Buddhism and Christian philosophy. The human nature is wrapped up in this red and blue wavy line that indicates positive and negative energy polarity. We go positive and we go negative. We are happy and we're sad. We want things for other people. We want things for ourselves. This is the polarity. When we desire, everybody have desire, right? We want things. But a person who wants for other people is considered altruistic. It is a positive desire. If we want things for ourselves, it's called selfish. It is a negative desire. When the human nature goes positive, when we want for other people, when we are optimistic and happy, then our lives tend to be more positive. We attract positivity into our life. We attract desirable circumstances. On the other hand, if we allow ourselves to go negative, if we're angry, wrathful, if we're delusional, if we have a lot of doubt, if we have a lot of cruelty, we're obstinate, if we have a lot of negativity within our human nature, well, guess what? We tend to attract negativity into our life. And do you notice that? Pessimistic people will attract negativity. Angry people attract more angry circumstances. People who are happy, people who are joyful, people who are at peace, they will attract similar positivity into their life. And so in this philosophy, we learn to take ownership of our inner being. Okay? So our inner being basically contains two parts. It is our true nature, the truth within ourselves. Jesus said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. Most people don't really understand what that means, okay? On a religious level, they just mean that you believe in Jesus and then you will go to heaven. But on a deeper level, we will actually, in the interaction on a human construct, we will go into detail of what that actually means. And at any moment in time, you can free yourself by rediscovering your true nature. And then we have the human nature, which is the mind and emotion, right? All this stuff. The emotion here is represented by what the Buddhists refer to as 84,000 bubbles of illusion, right? You know, this emotion, they just kind of well up, okay? And then they dissipate. They never last, okay? And then right next to the emotion is our body, right? Our four-element body, okay? The four elements are earth, water, air, and fire. Earth represented by nutrition, the food that we eat. When we die, we go back to the earth, okay? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We have water. 70% of our human body is made of water. We breathe air, and we have fire, which is thermal energy. We have heat. And if you notice, the human body also go positive and negative. So it is wrapped around a shell of positive and negative energy polarity. When we're positive, when we're happy, well, guess what? We tend to be also healthy. If we're sad, if we're stressed, those are negativity in the mental state, and it also reflects in a physical state in our body. A person who is sad for a very long time will develop heart failure. People who are angry for a very long time will, there is a negative state, they will develop stomach ulcer. People who are resentful of themselves, guess what? They will develop cancer. Cancer is nothing more than it's the body's own cell dividing out of control and attacking their own body. Or people who have autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune disorder is the body's own fighting machine attacking itself. Okay, so people who have a lot of autoimmune disorder, from a spiritual and mental and emotional level, there may be some negativity with respect to their acceptance of themselves. Maybe, there's some resentment against the self. And so when we learn to take ownership of our inner being, we learn to achieve a state of peace. And when we achieve a state of peace, we connect the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotion, and we achieve balance and we get healthy. We experience health, we experience happiness. Okay, that is a very short summary of what we went through for the 24 hours. We talk about the idea of energy. We talk about the idea of energy. Do I have one? Talk about energy. Let's talk a person who has high energy, high positivity in their inner being. They tend to have good fortune. They attract positivity in their life. People have negative energy, low energy. They also attract negativity in their life, including poor health, bad financial situation, broken relationship. But people who experience high energy in terms of mental, physical, and spiritual energy, they experience great health, they experience peace, they experience lasting relationship with respect to their spouse, with respect to the children and the work and the environment. Okay, so using the operating principle of a conscious mind, we take ownership and we control our energy state. We go positive instead of negative. Okay. We talked about time. Okay, when a person experiences a lot of positivity in their own inner being, their vibrational energy frequency is also very high. When a person has high energy, they're happy, they're healthy, they are excited about things, then the sense of time tend to be very fast, right? Time flies when you're having fun. Right? Time flies when you're having fun, right? This is because you're so happy, you're motivated. On the other hand, if you're bored, if you're sick, if you're waiting in line and you're stressed out, guess what? Time drags on. The sense of time tends to be slow when our energy level is also low. Right? This is simple. This is human life and experience. Okay, we experience time very fast when our energy is high. When we experience times to be slow when our energy is low. But what's important, more important, the sense of time is the value of time. When our energy is high, we're positive, we're optimistic, we're hopeful, we're happy. Even though time seems to flow very quickly, there's not enough time to play, to spend with your loved one, to get things done. But when your energy is high, you also get a lot of things done. The value that time gives you and the value that you create is also very high. Right? Do you notice that when you're really excited, you get a lot of things done in a short amount of time? On the other hand, a person who is low in energy, they are bored, they're frustrated, they're anxious, even though time seems to drag on, they have a lot of time, but they get nothing done. Right? They get nothing done. As if time is short, even though it seems to drag on, but it is as if there's time is short because you got nothing done. From a scientific perspective, the particle with the highest energy vibration is the light particle. It is also the fastest moving particle in the universe. The fastest moving particle in the universe, which is a light particle, vibrates very, very fast. It's also travel very fast. In terms of distance, it gets a lot of value out of the distance it can travel. Some 300,000 kilometers per second or 300 something million meter per second. And science has already proven that the light particle expends no time. It does not feel the sense of time because its time is so long, it is equivalent to be infinite. Right? A light particle experiences no passage of time because its time is infinitely long. And so as a human being, if we understand this principle that from a molecular level, from an atomic level, from an energy level, if we understand that positivity, high balanced energy, then the value of time will be longer. We get more things done. We get more value of it, including things like rest. A person who is highly balanced can lie down to rest for 5 minutes, and it'll be equivalent to resting 2 hours. The masters of our philosophy only sleep for about 4 hours a day, and it will be equivalent to sleeping, like 16 hours. There's a promise in the Bible that you can live forever. Jesus said, if your ancestor ate the bread and they still die, but if you eat the bread of my body, you will live forever. It is spiritual food that raises your energy vibration, right? Improve your faith, improve your hope, improve your sense of peace. Then you can actually extend your longevity. Just ask the people who live past 100. Right? There are different places in the world where communities of people live in peace. The sense of inner peace actually extends their longevity, their long life, their age. Yeah, you can explain that in sort of psychology and physiological terms as well. People who experience a lot of stress, that's negativity. Their body would take a toll and they would get sick and they would die early. But people who experience a lot of peace, the body, the brain, they secretes positive chemical like endorphin. It repairs and regenerates the cells of the body, and so they live healthy, happy, and long life. That is our experience of time in terms of vibrational energy frequency. High energy, high value, very fast, seems to go by very fast, but you actually get a lot of value in terms of what you get done as well as in terms of how much you can experience in life. Okay, that's a review on our vibrational energy of time. Okay. Okay. So since Ron is back on the camera, okay, let's officially start the sharing today. And as a tradition, we usually start our sharing with some feedback from the participant. We learned about universal principles and natural laws, and one of the principles is called the principle of mental activation. It is a principle that once we understand it and we adhere to it, then we can retain information. That'll help expand our awareness and perception. It help us advance our wisdom. And with wisdom and with new awareness and perception, we can more simply take ownership of our inner being, which then will change our life. Okay? So with that, I'm going to invite Ron. Do you remember anything from our previous sharing? Any lesson, any impression, and if you experienced any realization that you can share with the group? Go ahead and unmute if you have anything.
I just have to think. I just finished eating, so
Okay. Okay.
yeah, there was a lot that I like with the vibrational energies
Mm-hmm.
and how you can be with a low energy and have negative thoughts, and also with the high energy, you're happier. You maintain happiness, and yeah, I kind of on the spot. I'm just finished eating, so
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. If you
can't
want,
think
we
at the
can jump
moment.
in to a bit of the review of the reality triangle. Okay, because in the 24-hour session, we basically left off with the reality triangle. And it is a good idea to review it because I think it will be helpful to our new friends as well to talk about the reality triangle. And if it jot any memory or if it,
Yes.
give you any impression, feel free to jump back in. Okay.
I-
Okay. Okay. So once again, thank you very much. I appreciate so much you guys taking the time to join our Zoom. Okay. I'm studying and I'm learning and I would like to share and I love to share because it makes my life better, make me understand the material better, and I love to see people around me being more healthy and happy. Okay. Here we are operating on a natural law called the law of causality or cause and effect. Okay. Excuse me. Law of causality. Okay, causality. Causality is simple. It basically say that for every cause, there's an effect. Okay, for every cause, there's an effect. Causality is a law that governs everything, from the physical world to the religious and spiritual world to the human life and experience. When it comes to the human life and experience, there is also the intermediate stuff, which is all the condition. Okay, the formula is simple. Cause plus conditions give you the effect. Okay. Another way of saying that is the seed. If you plant a seed, well, you would expect the fruit, right? Okay. When you plant a seed, let's say you plant the mango seed, you expect the fruit that is a mango fruit. But it's not that simple. Just because we plant the seed doesn't mean we actually get the fruit right away. There's a series of in-between stuff. You have to cultivate the seed. You have to plant the seed and you have to water the plant. You have to till the soil, right? Trim the trees and things like that. Okay. So there is the process of, cultivation. Okay. There's a process of cultivation that will give you the fruit. Okay, makes sense? Yeah. When it comes to human life and experience, the seed is the inner awareness inner awareness about ourselves, about other people, about how life works. Just because somebody gives you the inner awareness doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the desirable outcome in life just yet. Desired, can I say life? There's a in-between stuff. The in-between stuff that we need to cultivate is our affinity with other people. The word affinity means attraction, right? We are not an island to ourselves. We're not a single isolated entity. We are connected to other people. Everything we do, everything we say, every time we act or react, we are affecting other people. And so in this philosophy, in order to get the kind of life that we want, the desired life, let's say health and happiness, we not only need to improve our inner awareness, but we need to work on our affinity with other people as well. Okay? Make sense so far, Karen?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay, great, awesome, great. Let's move on. Now that is a basic law. Everything that we talk about, it operates on the law of causality. Okay, so law of causality is a wonderful law, and we cannot escape it. We can only understand it and obey it If we don't obey the law, then we usually pay the price, right? Just like if you don't obey the traffic law, you get, you get fined or you get arrested. If we don't obey the law of causality as it applies to the universe, to our life, then we do pay the price. And usually the price is pain and suffering, poor health, bad relationship, okay, bad finances. Those are the price that we pay when we fail to understand how the law of causality works. Okay, so still on causality, still on that triangle, and we are going to take a look at a system of reference called the reality triangle. Okay. The triangle. This triangle represents our reality. From a physical world, material world, scientific world, every object in reality has what's called a physicality. Okay, physicality. Anything that is physical or material are the things that we can touch, we can see, we can measure. Okay, it has a physical form. It's called physicality. As scientists study the physical world, take, for example, the element of gold versus the element of lead. Gold and lead each has a physicality. Gold sort of has a physical manifestation of, shininess, and it's yellow looking. Lead has a grayish, dull looking at. Those are physical quality to the element of lead and element of gold. And as scientists study lead and gold and they zoom down to the lower level, they notice that all element, in order for it to have a certain physical reality, they emit an energy vibration. Okay, there's an energy aspect to all physical things in the universe. In fact, it is our eyes that pick up the energy vibration of the light wave that is reflected from lead or gold. Okay? And then as scientists study some more and more, and they go down to deeper and deeper level, they wonder, okay, so what brings about the energy of gold versus what brings about the energy of lead? Why are they different? Okay. And the scientists find out that the basic construction, the basic makeup of the element of lead, of gold, is different than the basic makeup of lead. Gold is different than lead from a basic structure, and they simply call it information. Okay. In terms of gold and lead, the information within gold is the arrangement of the protons and electrons and neutrons. The arrangement of protons and electrons and neutrons inside gold is different than the information within lead. And by recognizing that, what scientists does is, okay, if we want to change lead into gold, what do we need to do? All we got to do is go back to the information and we change that. And scientists have been able to change the arrangement of the protons and electron and neutron within lead into the arrangement of electrons and protons and neutron of gold, and thereby they can turn the element of lead into the element of gold. It has been done. You follow that so far, Karen?
Yep.
The reality triangle? Yeah, it is the information within an object that give rise to its energy level, that give rise to its physical manifestation. And if we want to change anything, all you gotta do is go back to the information, change the basic information, and then you will eventually change the energy and change the physicality of it. Okay, pretty simple. And so we take that and we apply it to human life and experience. And we ask, okay, what is it about a person who is happy that is different than a person who is unhappy? Have you met happy people? Do you get the sense that they look and feel different than a person who is unhappy? Yeah, they have a physicality that is different, right? A happy person somehow manifests differently than a person who is unhappy. And so by the same argument that you can say, okay, what is the kind of energy within a happy person that is different than the energy within a sad person, right? Happy person, sad person, you can feel it, you can sense it. And so what information within a happy person that is different than the information within a sad person? And if we know the information within that contained within a happy person, then all you got to do is change the information within an unhappy person to match that of the happy person. And eventually you're going to get the energy of a happy person and the physicality of a happy person. One thing about health, same thing. What is the difference between a person who is healthy and a person who is not healthy? The energy is different, the information is different. What's the difference between a successful person and a person who is unsuccessful? Well, guess what? The physicality is success or unsuccess. The information is also different. So all you got to do is change the information inside an unsuccessful person to match that of a successful person. Okay? And so from the causality, this is still causality, right? If the cause is information. The effect is the outcome, which is a physical manifestation. Okay? Energy is the in-between stuff. Same thing. Here's a formula. When it comes to human life and experience, it is our inner awareness, our affinity with people that will give us the desired life. And so our inner awareness or our inner seed, okay? So if we were to say, okay, so if we want to have the physicality of a healthy person, if we want the physicality of a happy person, if we want the physicality of a wealthy person or a person of good social relationship, then what is the information within them? Okay. So the information within the person, I'm just going to say info. So we are now using the triangle of reality of the information. So we take the information and we break it out, we break it up into its own triangle of reality. So information itself has a triangle of reality, right? In this philosophy, so far, we went through 24 hours and we went through 3 different ways of looking at life. Okay, just from one perspective, and in fact, there are many different perspectives that people have in life, but to simplify things and make it simple for us to take ownership and to manage our life, there really are only 3 perspectives that most people will adopt when they try to explain life. There is the scientific or the science perspective. Some people are heavily influenced by science. They explain everything in terms of science. Okay? Some people are very spiritual and religious. Okay, we combine those together. They explain everything in terms of religion or spirituality. And some people aren't really scientific and they don't really follow any religion, but they do have a sense of common sense, morality. Okay, common sense morality, okay? And so when we speak to a person and we learn from them or we try to teach them, we try to understand if they are sort of scientific minded or they are religious and spiritual minded or just common sense and moral person. And each of these experience in our philosophy, we have been given by the sages and the masters different frame of reference, different tools. For the scientific perspective, we have a tool called the root cause formula. Okay, if you want to know what that is, you can go back to the previous sharing and we'll revisit that a little bit. The root cause formula. Using the scientific formula, basically what the root cause formula say that in a scientific perspective, whenever scientists does, want to understand reality, they start with the end in mind. They start with the hypothesis, which is a statement on the final result. And then they go back and conduct experiment to try to reconstruct that result. We begin with the end in mind, okay? I'm going to use the symbol root for root cause formula. In the root cause formula, one of the benefits of the root cause formula is that it gives us the final outcome in life. If we want our life to be beneficial, to be healthy, happy, using the scientific perspective, what we begin with is good mental images. Okay, if you have a good mental image of what our life looked like, we can go back and take steps in creating that mental image. If we change our mental image, we essentially change our life. Okay, the final outcome in life are a result of the choices that we made, but the choices that we made are determined by our mental images. Okay, so good mental images. In fact, if we're gonna create a life that is good, then we're gonna want good information, right? So this is gonna say good as well. Okay, we want a good information. From a religious and spiritual perspective, right? Some people don't really think scientifically, but everything they explain in terms of God or explain in terms of spirituality, then we use a particular frame of reference or a system of reference called the human construct, which I just showed you, okay? The big one with human nature, we deal with human nature, we explain human nature, we explain, the will of God. So the tool that we use is called a human construct. How human beings were created, okay? Human construct. What the human construct frame of reference gives us is the idea of good and bad fortune. Good and bad fortune correspond to good deed and bad deed. The golden rule from the Christian perspective says that which we sow, so shall you reap, or do unto others what you would have done unto yourself. So people who perform good deed for other people tend to attract good deed and good circumstances into their life. Good or bad fortune, right? Christian and Buddhist agree on this idea, okay? Do unto others what you would have done unto yourself. Good fortune, bad fortune. With the Buddhist perspective, there is something else called wisdom merit. It is a type of spiritual energy. Good and bad fortunes are spiritual energy within the human construct, within our own construct that allow us to attract good or bad fortune. With a Buddhist perspective, there is a third type of energy, has to do with wisdom. When we help other people expand their awareness and perception, we help other people open their mind, then we also receive a type of energy called wisdom merit that will open our own mind. And with wisdom, we are more simply able to achieve a state of clarity, a state of serenity, and ultimate liberation. Okay, good fortune, bad fortune, and wisdom merit. Obviously, since we are trying to find a good seed within us, the good information, then we don't want bad fortune, right? So what you want to do is we're going to limit the bad fortune. Okay, we want to make sure we maintain the energy of good fortune. We want to make sure that we do, perform good deed for other people, for ourselves. And then for the people who have a sense of, they have a common sense of morality, but they don't care about science or they're not very religious, there is a system of reference called the reality triangle, which is what we're using right here. Okay. What the reality triangle, beside from showing us that all things in this universe has a physicality, has an energy, has the information that makes up the energy and the physicality, what the reality triangle says is that, okay, what is the reality triangle of a person? What is a good, what does it mean? What is the good seed within me? It turns out that the sages have taught us that a person who has a good seed within themselves, the awareness, good awareness, okay, the good seed within a person is a good inner awareness. It is make up of what they know, what they believe, and what they understand. What a person know, what they believe, or what they understand represents the information within them. So when mentioning happiness, what a person know about happiness, what a person understand about happiness, what a person believe about happiness, represent the information within them about happiness, and thereby represent the reality of happiness. When mentioning health, what do we know about health? What do we believe about health? What do we understand about health? Represent the information within us about health, and thereby representing our reality of health. Okay, and this is called the source concept. What we know, what we believe, and what we understand is called the source concept. And what kind of source concept? We want favorable source concept. Source concept. What happened to people who have unfavorable source concept? If what they know about health is unfavorable, what they believe about health is unfavorable, what they understand about health is unfavorable, guess what? The reality of health is pretty unfavorable. Right? When we ask a person about their health and they tell us about how much pain they're in, how much medicine they have to use, how many surgery they have to go to, how bad they feel, how troublesome, well, guess what? Everything they know about their health is unfavorable. They know about the illnesses more than the health. They actually didn't say anything about the health. They have told you everything about the illness. So they have zero concept, zero source concept about health. Right? When we ask about a person's marriage relationship, and they complain that their spouse is this, their spouse is mistreating them, their spouse is doing all this bad thing, then guess what? What they know about the relationship is unfavorable. What they believe, or if they say, oh, marriage is I don't know, it's a curse. And they know everything about how marriage can break up, but they have zero conception of what it looked like, or what, how to go about having a happy marriage. And guess what? The reality of marriage is unfavorable. And so with the system of reference called the reality triangle, what we get is a favorable source concept. What we know, what we believe, what we understand. If we can align what we know, what we believe, what we understand with that which we want, which is favorable, that which we want is things that are favorable to our life. If we align that, then we eventually will come up with all the knowledge that is needed to have what we want, all the appropriate belief that we need in order to get what we want. And finally, when we truly understand what it is to get that reality, then we have it. Okay? favorable source concept. That is a powerful, the triangle of reality is a powerful tool for us to begin to take ownership of our own inner being, our own inner information, our own inner awareness, thereby our external reality. Did you get that so far? Yeah?
Yep.
What are some impressions so far? Or if any question, please do share. It helped me understand if I get the point across.
I think so far it's good.
So far, it's good. Okay.
I mean, I'm following because I believe everything, so it makes sense to me. So
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. If it makes sense to you, then you have you already have the reality for a lot of those things. Okay. Okay, so in order to manage the causality of human life and experience, health, happiness, relationship, finance, we focus on the inner seed. Okay, and the inner seed is the cognition. Okay, so let me introduce another concept. In fact, let's go back to that big diagram. The human construct. Okay, just a real quick review on the human construct. This is how human beings are constructed. It is also known as a human energy structure because everything is discussed in terms of energy structure. Deep inside us, we have this true self, which is the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, the will to know. In fact, we are already always hearing, already always seeing, already always speaking, and already always knowing. Right outside of this inner being, there's a circle of human nature called reception, expression, imagination, and cognition. Okay, cognition includes our awareness and perception. Awareness and perception. So when it comes to managing our own life and the lives of others, if we're in a sort of profession or in a business where you have to manage other people, like a business owner or manager or supervisor, we there's this idea of inner cognition. Okay, another word for that is our totality of awareness and perception. Okay, our inner cognition, our awareness and perception. What we're doing here is really to expand our awareness and perception. Okay, our discussion is about expanding our awareness and perception. Awareness and perception about what? About ourselves, about our world, about health and happiness and relationship and finance, so that we can take ownership of our inner cognition, our inner awareness and perception, and thereby creating the reality that we want. Okay, causality. Inner seed will give rise to the external outcome. Now, here's the thing. Inner cognition give rise to mentation. What our awareness and perception will determine the way we think. Mentation is thinking. Right? They give rise to the way we think. Okay, what pen is about? And our thinking eventually give rise to our behavior. Which are basically a collection of thoughts, actions. Okay, behaviors are our action. It turns out that if we try to change our behaviors and action, it might work, but it tend not to be permanent. It can be very hard, and it won't stick. Okay, when a person has, let's say, a mental health problem and they go to a psychologist or a psychotherapist, what the psychotherapist would try to engage a person is in a therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Changing a person's inner cognition in order to change their behavior. Let's say a person has an addiction to cigarette. Okay, addiction to cigarette. That is a difficult behavior to change. If you just tell a person, stop smoking, okay, they might be able to do it one day, but they go back. Because something in their mentation, their thinking, is causing them to behave in such a way. And if you try to change the mentation, that too is difficult because there is something about their awareness and perception that is the root of their thinking, which will influence the action. When we tell our children, do your homework, and that our children is prone to skipping homework. They like to play instead. If all we do is tell our children to do your homework, we manage their action. Well, guess what? They might do it, but tomorrow we have to tell them again. We have to tell them again and again and again. If we keep on trying to manage behavior, we have to expend a lot of effort and it won't stick until we help the child think about the importance of doing the homework. And in order to teach them, a child to think about the importance of homework, we have to show them, we have to give them the awareness and perception that doing homework, let's say, is an expression of their integrity. It is an expression of good character, and that will eventually give them success in life. It will give them reward and benefit. Then, once they have the awareness and perception that doing homework is something that is beneficial to them, then they will automatically think about doing the homework, and they will automatically do the homework. And you don't have to ever manage a child doing homework again. So instead of asking a child, have you done your homework today? What you can do in changing the awareness and perception is ask them, okay, do you understand the importance and the value of homework? Okay, totally different way of managing people. Okay, same thing with the boss and the employee. If the boss and the employee come in late and we only focus on the behavior, you're late, I need you to be on time. Okay, fine, they'll be on time tomorrow and maybe the next day, but they'll go back to their old behavior if they don't have the kind of thinking that align with the kind of awareness and perception of the value of being on time. But if you take the time and effort to sit the employee down and you discuss with them the value of integrity, what it means to be a person of wholeness and completeness. If we explain to the person the value of good character, right? Then once they have that awareness and perception, they will think for themselves and they will behave in alignment with the awareness and perception. And what are the awareness and perception that represent the good in the seed? Well, guess what? We already have those formula. We already have those system of references. Okay. The awareness and perception or the inner, yes.
Can I make a comment? So to me, this is good, but what is the rewards and the consequences? Because just because you tell somebody to do something doesn't mean they're going to do it. And so how help reinforce that?
Well, traditionally, we manage behavior with reward and punishment.
Oh, it goes up there.
Which is still not very effective, because what happened is that when we threaten a person of punishment, what we do is we cause them to go negative in the human nature, the human energy. When we threaten a person of a punishment, they will do it, but they will do it out of fear. And fear obviously is a negative emotion. It'll work at that instant, but what's going to happen? It'll cause stress, fear, stress, and over time they will actually become more unproductive, and they'll find ways to do bad things again. Okay. That is traditional way of managing people's behavior. That's fine. People do it all the time, but that is why human resources department gets a headache because they don't know any better way to do it. But the better way to do it is to show a person the benefit of
Mhm.
being on time, the value that the organization is trying to create, and to show the employee that they are a person of value. You are a person of value. You are a person of integrity, and therefore it should be natural for you to be on time. When you do that, they have no choice because they recognize that, oh, I'm a person of value. It becomes a natural thing to do the right thing. It becomes a natural thing to be on time because they recognize from an awareness and perception perspective that they are a person of value, that they are a person of integrity. You tell them you were born in the image of God, which is whole, perfect, and complete. You don't actually work hard. You don't have to work hard on trying to be perfect. You are already perfect. So it's just natural thing. Just be perfect. Just be on time. So no punishment, no threat, all positive. You infuse because a person who's late is already experienced some negativity in their life, right? They already have some stress. They already have family issues. And if we add on that negative with a threat, they're gonna be, they might be on time with work, but what that's gonna happen is they may end up taking it out on their family. Causality. When we add negative to a person's already negative experience, we will basically spread the negativity. They might take it out on the family and it might bounce back and they'll quit the job or they'll get sick and they'll file for unemployment. Or they'll file for workers' comp. You get the idea? When reinforced with negative, we're gonna get negativity. But we find ways, but see, awareness and perception, we have to come to an awareness and perception that if a person is making a mistake, then they are already experiencing some negativity in their life. We want to help them cancel that out, go positive. When we fill that hole, we feel that that is which is missing in their life, then they can be positive and they can be a valuable contribution to their work experience, their work life, their work environment. Okay, so we already were given a tool, 3 tools in terms of
That's
inner
where you
cognition.
say the root cause of life begins with me. You have to
There you
plant
go.
that seed within
Okay.
yourself.
Root cause of life begins with me. And that is it. That's exactly it. Okay. The tools. Okay. So the tools with the root cause of life, we're just going to simplify it. We simplify it. We say the root cause of life give us positive images. Okay. We'll go into deeper detail today when we talk about wisdom. Okay, different levels of wisdom, root cause of life. Karen, you can go back to review the root cause of life later. But the end result or the fruit of the root cause of life formula gives us positive mental images. If a person has a positive mental images about themselves, about being on time, about being homework, then it will be more likely that they are going to think along that positivity and they will go behave along that line of positivity. If they have a mental image of themselves being a person of integrity, a person of accountability, a person of value, then it is a natural outline for them to think along that way and behave that way. Right? Yeah. Mental images, very, very powerful. Okay. It comes from a scientific perspective. A second tool that we were given is the source concept. Okay, source concept. That comes from the reality triangle. That which we know, that which we believe, that which we understand, represents the information within us, represent the source concept within us, represent our reality. So in terms of awareness and perception, in terms of the inner cognition of a person, does a person actually know what it means to be on time? Do they know how to use the alarm clock? Or do they wait for the rooster to crow and the sun to come through the window? Do they know that in order to get up on time and actually, even if the alarm ring, do they have to know that you have to sleep X amount of hours for you to get well rested, right? If a person stays out and party all night, even if they set the alarm, they're going to hit the alarm, the snooze button a million times. So we can help a person come up with a fullness of concept about a certain aspect. And when they fully grasp the source concept, then that becomes their reality. In the school that we are studying from WIT, with Ron and I, and we have Master Thong here. Thank you, Master Thong. Thank you for joining us. Very honored by your presence. In the school that we're training, a person can be taught on the source concept of swimming without ever being on into the pool. And after about a dozen session of just talking about the source concept and learning the source concept, once they have a fullness of source concept of what it means to swim, how to hold the breath, how to move their arms and legs, how to stay afloat, how to breathe, then they can go into the pool for the first time and swim, which is different than traditional swim lesson. People can take months and years to learn to swim and they still struggle with it. But in this philosophy, once we give, let's say swimming, right? Once we give a person a mental image, what it looks like when they have a full and clear mental images of what it looks like to be afloat in the water, to to how to relax. And they have a full concept of buoyancy. They have full concept of their own feel of the water. Then they get into the water and they can swim, okay? The student of this program can swim 2 to 10 kilometers in the ocean the first time they get into the water, because we give them mental images and we give them appropriate, favorable source concept. So this is favorable source concept. Favorable source concept. When it comes to, let's say, being on time, we're using the same example, right? If a person has a source concept that is unfavorable, how do you say it? Let's find a bad example. I don't know. Never mind. I can't even think of it. We've been in the light for so long, we can't even come up with a bad example.
Well, what about the example of somebody that thinks they're going to drown?
Okay, there you go. Okay. When they think they're going to drown, first of all, that is a negative mental image. If they think that, oh, I'm too heavy, right? I'm too heavy, I'm going to drown. Then what we got to do is we're going to show them, that scientifically speaking, that we have more air in our body than we think, that we're made up of 70% water, which is equivalent to the water. And if we take in air and if we relax, then we'll naturally float. When I first taught my son to swim, I didn't teach him any movement. All I taught him to do was to take a breath and hold it. At 1 year old, he went into the pool. In fact, you can teach 3-month-old. You can teach 6-month-old babies. Babies actually has a favorable source concept about swimming better than adults do. Why? Because baby have been swimming in the womb for 9 months. They naturally know how to hold the breath. They instantly know how to hold the breath. So what they do when they teach baby with survival swimming is they just throw the baby in the water. The baby instantly know how to hold his breath, and then they'll teach the baby how to turn over and then lie on his back, and they float. Adult, it is our fear, our unfavorable source concept about water that causes us to cringe, causes us to hyperventilate. We lose air, we lose buoyancy, and then we sink. So when we give people a favorable source concept about swimming, about breathing, about relaxation, then once they have that, it becomes clear, it equates to their reality, awareness, and perception, even before they get into the water. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the third one. Okay, this is like the mental images is the scientific perspective, the root cause formula. Okay, since we want to mention it, let's just add the system, the reference system that we use. Okay, this is the root cause. Okay, this is the reality triangle. Reality triangle, and over here we are going to borrow the religious and spiritual perspective, and we talk about the inner state. Okay, inner state. Or you can add inner state of being. Okay, we're talking about the state of being. This is a study of being. This is an ontology. Okay, this is a philosophy of being, which is ontological, the study of the way of being. When it comes to an inner cognition or inner state in a perception, when a person state of being is positive or balanced, positive or balanced, then they have that reality. When a person is hopeful, when a person is happy, when a person is confident, it is more simple for them to achieve a certain reality. We're going to say balance positive, okay? Balance positive. In addition to the mental state, which is hope, which is aspiration, which is confident, those are mental state. When the mental state is positive, it is more simple for a person to achieve that reality. If getting up in the morning at, let's say, 4 a.m. is in order to come to work and it's negative, yeah, guess what? The person's gonna be late. But if getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning in order to go to the airport and the airport airplane is gonna take you to your vacation, and guess what? Your mental state, your emotional state is positive. Chances are you're gonna be on time getting up at 4 in the morning to get to the airport because you know you're gonna go on vacation. You might not even be able to sleep. You'll be waiting for the alarm. When the mental state, when the inner state is positive or balanced, it is more simple for a person to achieve that reality. When a child think about homework and he's negative or he's bored and he's think of it as a chore, it's not going to be very difficult for a child to do the homework. But if the child understands that finishing his homework quickly and correctly will give him more chance to play game. that can do that. Not one way to do it. Or better yet, if you can get a child to have the inner cognition, which is awareness and perception, that finishing his homework will give him good grade, which will eventually earn him reward or advancement in life and later. Okay. Then when you can cause a person to go positive or balanced, then it will be more simple for them to experience that reality. And from a deeper spiritual perspective, right? Positive or balance in the emotional state, that's one thing. Mental and emotional, that's good. But also there is a dimension of spirituality as well. Some people who have contributed value to other people in a certain aspect of life. Let's say they have helped people a lot in terms of money. Okay, they have created a lot of money for other people, created a lot of value for other people in terms of money. Well, guess what? Their spiritual energy in terms of money will also be very positive. And they will actually attract a lot of positivity in terms of money. Money will come their way because they have created value for other people. That is a spiritual aspect of the energy, of the inner state. Okay, inner state is all about energy. Okay, when a person can cause other people to feel good, positive circumstances will come to them. Okay, and let me tell you a little bit more about the idea of balance and positive. And sometimes people get a little confused. They think that in order to go from negative to positive, you have to go through the neutral balance. That is not true. Okay, when we say balance positive, what we don't mean is the middle part between negative and positive. When we say balance, it is this picture that you want to look at. This is my own makeup. Okay, Master Tom is here, so he can reprimand me later. But this is not didn't come from the official teaching, but it's my way of looking at it. Imagine we're climbing the hill, and at top of hill is the
He was my translator at the offline.
Huh?
He was my translator at the offline too.
Okay.
Yeah.
The idea of positive and negative and balance. Okay, when we come to inner state. Imagine we are a person. Okay, and we're going up the hill. Okay, the direction of uphill, that is positive. Okay, hope brings our energy up. Happiness bring our energy up. Confidence bring our energy up. Positive energy, positive ways of beings like altruism. Okay, desiring for other people bring our energy up. To be satisfied bring our energy up. To be trusting, to be benevolent, to be open-minded. These are the things that will raise our inner energy state. Okay. Negativity negativity. Okay. Let's do it again. Negativity pushes our energies down. Selfishness, anger and wrath, delusion, inferiority, doubt, cruelty, obstinance. Those are negative ways of being, and they will push our energy down. And we have a lot, when we have a lot of negativity within us, we will attract negativity into our life in terms of undesirable circumstances. Okay, so when we are positive, we attract positive, we're going to say desirable circumstances. Okay. When we are negative in terms of energy state, we attract negative or undesirable circumstances. Angry people attract more angry people, right? Have you seen a crowd in a riot? It just begins with one angry people. A group of people may begin with a peaceful protest at a political event or something like that. People may begin peaceful, but all you need is a few very angry people, and pretty soon the whole crowd turned into a riot. Right? Negativity attracts negative or undesirable circumstances. If we're walking around being resentful, guess what? We're going to have a lot of friends who are very resentful too. But if we walk around being happy and positive and confident, then we're going to attract friends who are happy and positive and confident. Our health, our happiness, our life gets better with positivity. Okay, this is our energy state. Okay, you can just say, the inner energy state. Energy state. But here's the power with what's up here. What happened when we get up here? When we get up here, we are balanced. Why we're balanced? Because we are already there. We have the reality. We are no longer trying to get there. We already have it. When somebody tells me to go swimming, I'm balanced, I just hop into the pool. I don't need to hope that I can swim. I already have the reality of swimming. That is what it means to be balanced, because we are already there. Okay. Okay. You see the power of balance. Okay. So this is, we're up here. Okay. This is coming down. When we have a balanced energy state, we already have that reality. When we talk to a billionaire about money, they don't need to feel hopeful. They don't need to feel excited. They don't need to jump into it. They already know how to make money. When we talk to a poor person about money, one or two things could happen. If they are striving to make more money, they'll go positive, right? They have hope, they have desire, they want to achieve. That's great. Eventually, they will experience that reality. On the other hand, a person who is poor and have a negative state about money is not for me, money is the root of evil, money is for bad people, money will get you into trouble. People with negative state about money, guess what? That is also the reality. They're going to lose more money. They're going to be poor for a very long time.
So what if you've attracted some of these negative, undesirable people as friends or family?
Good question. Go back to the there's a discussion on causality. There's discussion on the it's part of the human construct. If you have attracted negativity, right? If you had attracted unfriendly people, or if you attract unfriendly undesired people into your circumstances, that means your spiritual energy at that moment is not yet balanced. It is, in the past, causality, right? Causality, where we are now, our outcome in life, right? Where we are now, our health condition, our relationship status, our financial well-being, our outcome in life today is an outcome of the series of choices that we've made in the past. Okay? Where we are today, if we experience, let's say, undesirable things, that means we have done something undesirable and unhappy for other people in the past. In order to fully understand why sometimes we experience undesirable things that seem to happen without us, doing anything, we have to sort of extend our lifetime beyond this lifetime. Right? Some people are born through undesirable circumstances, like congenital heart problem. Right? People are born without arms and legs and eyes. People who are born into poverty. People who are born into abusive family in war zone. With those people, the only way we could explain why they are currently attracting negativity into their life is because in their past, they have caused negativity for other people. The Christian teaching doesn't go into detail, but there is a concept of original sin. Adam and Eve did something bad in the past, and that passed on to us. In the Buddhist philosophy, it is us who have lived multiple lifetimes in the past. So whatever we did in the past, we are reaping the fruit of those seeds that we planted. If we were born in great fortune, well, guess what? We had to have, help a lot of people enter into great fortune. If we are born into parents of riches, or if we are born into great health, then we have contributed to riches and good health for other people in the past. Okay, that is causality in both the Buddhist and the Christian perspective. But once we achieve balance, our inner state, then we already have that reality. Yeah. When I know Ron has a state of balance when it comes to waking up early and being on time. I'm still on this curve. I'm still climbing up the hill. Okay. Someday I'm on time, someday I'm a little early, someday I'm a little late. So I'm still, trying to find my balance when it's come to getting up on time. I'm pretty good with the Zoom. I'm almost never late for the Zoom. I can be late for work, but I'm always on time and sometimes early for the Zoom. Why? Because I'm positive, right? It excites me to be in the Zoom. If it was boring, then I would probably be, be late. But I'm excited about the Zoom, and I'm excited about sharing with you. I am grateful for your participation and your presence. Your presence is my present. Okay, so I'm very excited about it. That's why I'm always on time for the Zoom. Okay, we get the idea of balance positive. So what we always want to do is we want to get ourselves in a state of balance and positive. Okay, so the frame of reference or the system of reference that we use in term when we talk about inner state is the human construct, okay, or an human energy structure. Okay, if we have three powerful tools. Most people in this life usually have only one of these three perspectives. They tend to lean a lot in the science. They tend to lean a lot in the religious, and some people don't care either way. But we recognize, thanks to our sages and the masters who have accumulated this knowledge over thousands of years, it originated from the country of Vietnam. Okay, so we are grateful for the country of Vietnam. But a lot of this knowledge comes from all over the world, but it has been packaged in a way that is simple for us to receive. Okay, and so let's go back to the reality triangle. Okay, so now that we have these tools with us, let me just check my note real quick. Okay, so we talk about reality. Okay, let's use this is the triangle of reality or reality triangle. Okay. As we said earlier, all things in the universe has a physicality. Okay. It has an energy component. It has an information. Okay. From the reality triangle, when it comes to the information within us, okay, we said earlier that the information within us is that which we know, that which we believe, and that which we understand. And so on a very simple way, if we want the reality of good health, find somebody who knows what it means to have good health, to believe in good health, to understand about good health. Find a person who has that reality. And he asks, hey, what do you know and believe and understand about good health that give you great health? And those people will tell them what they know about it, what they believe about it, what they understand about it. And once you grasp what they know, what they believe, and what they understand about health, you take that reality. This teaching is different from the type of teaching that we learn in school. When we learn in school, we learn information, lots and lots of information. We could go through years and years of nutrition, medical terminology, biology, physiology, and we go, we can graduate with a lot of knowledges about those technical stuff. We learn a lot about diseases, but we might not even know what it means to have good health. But all you got to do is find a person who has the reality of knowledge. Ask them, what do we know? What do you know that give you such great health? They'll probably tell you how to eat, how to exercise, how to sleep, how to think, how to have a good attitude. In fact, the World Health Organization defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Okay, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Another way of saying that is a person who is healthy is a person who's not sick. That's simple to understand, right? A person who is healthy is somebody who's not sick. But a person who is not sick is not necessarily healthy. If you're sick, you go to the doctor can remove your sickness. But if you don't get yourself to the state of health, you're going to come back to the doctor. Do we see that every day? All right. Health is not having to depend on medication, for instance. If we take a medication every day, all the time, then we haven't experienced any healings, any health. But if you can get to a state where you're no longer dependent on medication, when you're actually healthy, mentally, physically, socially, and in this teaching, I would like to add spiritually, then we can experience the reality of health. What did I just do? What did I just do? What did I just do? I've just given you a source concept, a little bit of information about health, something a little bit different than what we know before, right? So if you talk to a person who has the knowledge about health, they're going to tell you about it. Don't talk to a person who's sick. Oh my goodness. They will tell you all about their illnesses and they cannot guide you to a state of health. Talk to the person who knows the answer to the destination that you're going. There's a story, okay? A man and a woman is on a vacation. They're driving the RV, the recreation vehicle. They're going on vacation. They're going from town to town to experience, America, the different tourist site or Canada. So a man and a woman is driving, and they use a GPS, okay, Google or okay, or an Apple map or whatever. They're using the electronic map, and the electronic map tells them to exit at the next exit, the exit, to turn left, they turn left, and to go in a traffic circle, past the gas station, and they do that. They exit, they turn left, they go in traffic circle, they pass the gas station, and they are nowhere near what they're supposed to go. And as they're driving around and around and around, they're trying to find the way to the destination. They cannot trust the digital map anymore. And the husband say, why don't we go back to that turn over there before the exit and see if we can retrace our step and see where we went wrong. And the wife say, I have a better idea. Instead of going back and find out why we made a mistake, why don't we just ask the local? The local knows how to get to the destination. Why bother looking for the wrong way when you can ask the local for the right way? A doctor can give you a diagnosis of your disease, but unless he gives you the advice on how to get healthy, you're not going to get healthy. I'm not discounting doctor. When I get sick, I want the doctor to help me. Okay, I need the doctor to remove my disease so I can go back to my life and my learning and my and on my way to becoming healthy and happy. Doctors are needed. Experts in those fields are needed. But the removal of our diseases does not give us health. That is why the World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, social, and now we're going to add spiritual well-being, not merely the absence of a disease or infirmity. So that's why we have to go holistic. And then the person you talk to about health, do they believe? What do they believe about health? Do they believe that you can get health and what they know it's going to get them to the belief? Or is a person, you don't want to talk to a person who say that, yeah, I'm healthy now, but in a few years when I get old, I'll get sick again. And that's not going to work to you because you're going to get his reality. And then if a person has a full and complete understanding, they know how to get there, they believe, and they know from a intimate level the understanding of how to be healthy. Guess what? That is their physical manifestation. And when you take that, when you grasp all of that, you have the reality of health. Same thing with relationship, raising your children. Don't talk to a person who say children nowadays don't listen to the parent. Children nowadays don't pay attention. They play too much game. Listen to a person who knows how to raise the children, who believe that it is possible to raise good children, and they have a full and complete understanding of how to do it. Right? This is how we can transfer our reality. This knowledge, this philosophy is about the transferring of reality. It is not just information. We're not giving you information like in the traditional sense. This is a transferring of reality. And we are doing that by shifting your awareness and perception. Okay, we're doing this by shifting your awareness and perception, and we're giving you 3 ways of doing it. Question or impression before we move on to wisdom. What do you think, Karen?
I think that I can relate to a lot of this.
Yeah. Which part?
Basically, what you know how to do something, but you need to reinforce it with what you believe. And then you physically have to understand that too. And then the spiritual part, I totally agree with too.
Yeah. Most people have one of three, one or two of three. They may have a certain belief,
Yeah.
but they don't have a source concept, so they can't recreate it. External circumstances could happen and they lose their faith.
Yeah.
Right? You have heard people losing my faith. I used to believe in God, but now I don't believe in God anymore. I lost my faith because their source concept is incomplete. They may have been brought up in an environment where the energy level is, believe in God, for instance, right? The energy level. They may have been born with the good fortune of belief in God, but if they don't have the source concept, that belief becomes unstable when external circumstances happen, pain, suffering, things like that. But if you have a good concept of what God is, then it is more simple to maintain your belief, to strengthen your belief, and you have a full understanding of nature of God, for instance, then your belief in God is very, very stable. Right? But yeah, okay. The way we share our impression is when we come to anything new, those are the new lesson, anything new, and then impression of it is something that we can actually apply to our life. If we cannot apply it, then it's just entertainment. We're not here to give any entertainment value. We're here to transform our own lives. And the meat or the real sweetness of it is the realization, because when you have a certain realization, it usually comes out as a long process of inquiry. We have been asking of ourselves, of other people, of our life, of the universe, of God, why certain things are the way it is. And when through this interaction, when you come to a new realization, there's a shift in your inner cognition, which changes your behavior, changes your mentality, and create new reality. It is the realization that is important. Okay? There are three ways to come to a realization of anything new. One is through experience. People experience, usually pain and suffering. But it is not the pain and suffering that is the value. It is a lesson that we learn from, the experience that is the value. That's what changed our life. Because, there are some people who experience pain and suffering all the time, and they keep on repeating and repeating their mistake. They haven't learned anything. There's no point in repeating your mistake and pain and suffering. It is the lesson, something new that would help you change. Another way to come to a realization is by thinking, contemplating on your own. Now, few people can actually do that. Really intellectual people, wise people can do that. But most people, it is difficult to sit down and contemplate. And the simplest way to actually come to a new realization is to ask the local. The local who has already lived in that reality. In this case, it is the sages and the master of this knowledge. They are local in this. So we just learn from the people who already know. We see.
So what does the 10,000 number mean on that?
There is the sages have taught us that if you can accumulate 10,000 lessons, then you will completely understand human life and experience. Okay, if you consider amount of years left we have in this life, divided into how many lessons per year, divided into how many lessons per day we need to learn. All we're gonna learn is maybe 10 lessons in a day. Then after a certain amount of years, we will have full and complete understanding about human life and experience. That is a promise. And there are people in this Zoom who can testify to that. Okay, look at that. Master Tong is somebody who has experienced fullness of perception and awareness about human life and experience. In other words, we can explain everything about why everything is the way it is. Not everything about the physical world, not everything about the cosmology, about the religion and spirituality, but in terms of human life and experience, stuff like health, stuff like happiness, stuff like relationship, even finances. You can have a full and complete understanding and mastery of human life and experience if you can do 10,000 lesson impression and realization. And so it is a practice for the students in this this teaching in the school for us to do it every day. Okay.
So what number are you on?
Huh?
What is your number to date?
I haven't kept count. There is a formal way of doing it. Some of us are supposed to write down. When I was taking the official class last year, I had to do a video recording and I had to upload it for the teacher to review. Now I just do it mentally.
I see.
Every time I interact with a person, whether it's my coworker or a stranger on the street, I feel like, okay, what did I just learn?
Mm.
I teach my son when we go to bed. In fact, I just picked him up today and from school. He's 8 years old. He got out of second grade. And I asked, okay, son, what did you learn today? Okay. So constantly ask, okay, what did I learn today? Every little interaction, every crisis can bring a lesson, but you don't have to wait for crisis. They're constantly learn. Okay. You do it all the time.
Right.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about wisdom. Exciting topic. Okay, very exciting about wisdom. So in the beginning, we said that there's an idea of something called a principle of light. I recommend you go back to viewing, I think, the first episode. I think I've uploaded all the episodes for the 24 hours. We call that season 3. You look at the video in the series. Just look for S03E07, meaning season 3, episode 1. And you should click on the link when I share with you. Click on the Telegram link. Just join the Telegram link so you can get the latest updated video recording. And sometimes we send out an important announcement. In the first day of sharing, first session, we talk about the idea of the principle of light. Okay, principle of light is very simple. Wherever there's light, there's no darkness. Wherever there's darkness, not enough light. With the principle of light, it says that instead of trying to remove the darkness in our house, all you gotta do is flip the switch and bring the light into our house. Okay? The idea of removing the darkness is equivalent to trying to solve the problem of our lives. Most people go through life solving problems, and some people are very good at solving problems. But in fact, if you notice, the more problem that you solve, the more we attract problem into our life. Removing our illnesses doesn't make us healthy. It is only through raising our health that we will be healthy. Some people remove the darkness in their relationship by getting remarried, and they can get remarried multiple times and they would still not find happy marriage until they change something within themselves that will attract happy marriage. Some people try to remove the darknesses in their financial life by incurring more debt or to pay one debt, like a credit card debt. Some people get a credit card debt, they will open new credit card, transfer the balance over. Great, they solve that problem, but they have new debt. Or what they do is they work harder. They trade health for finance. Okay. It is only when we learn to bring light into our lives will our life actually get better. Otherwise, running around and solving problems will not give us a lasting solution. And how do we bring light into our lives? We bring light into our life by advancing our wisdom, improving our attitude, perfecting our character, becoming a person of integrity, okay, enhancing our physical vitality, maximizing our capability. And as we said before, when you are holistically wealthy, it is impossible to be materially poor. money will just come flowing in. It is a promise. When a person is materially poor, don't find ways of making money. Just go back and take a look. Oh, what's going on with the person's wisdom? What is going on with the attitude? What's going on with the character, the integrity? And then you will know right away why the person is not making money. Okay? So the first candle we're going to light up today is the candle of wisdom. So let's begin by drawing something. Wisdom, traditionally, wisdom is not a physical or material thing. Right? Wisdom is not a physical material thing. It is abstract. It is intangible. But guess what? We can actually make it materialize. Okay, we can turn it, we can make it physical by, I invite you to join me in doing this. Let's draw a candle. The first step in materializing the non-material aspect of our life, which is wisdom, is to create a clear mental image. Okay. So let's draw a nice candle with a bright flame. Let's use yellow inside and take our care in drawing our beautiful candle of wisdom. We can burn this image into our mind. We are lighting up the candle of our wisdom, okay? And it shines very bright. And when we have wisdom, it is a foundation of everything else. We can label it wisdom. Okay. There's a story in the Bible. One day, God asked King Solomon, famous king in the history of the country of Israel, okay, King Solomon. One day, God asked Solomon, you've been a faithful servant. What do you want? Do you want riches? Do you want long life? Do you want great health? And King Solomon said, no, thank you. I don't want riches. I don't want long life. I don't want great wealth. I just want wisdom. And God said, okay, you get wisdom. And from wisdom, Solomon was able to build great wealth. He's able to have great health. He had wonderful relationship. In fact, Solomon had, in the culture of, in the patriarchal culture of Israel, to have a lot of wives is considered very fortunate. It is a sign of wealth, great wealth. King Solomon is known to have 300 wives and 700 concubines. And each of those wives and concubines comes with a small country. A lot of those are political marriages. So he gains a lot of tribute, he gains a lot of wealth from his marriages. And it is estimated that to this day, King Solomon is still the most wealthy person in the history of humanity. His wealth, both in material wealth, in relationship, and all the influences, is equivalent to trillions and trillions of dollars. Okay. Human beings in this day and age, I think there's a king in Arabic, king, something like his total net worth is several $100 billion. But King Solomon, when you count all of his material and non-material wealth, is worth trillions of dollars. Wisdom. Okay, so let's take a look at closer to wisdom. All right.
Hey, Frank.
Yes.
Frank, I apologize. I have to get off the phone. I have to help my husband. Plus, my battery is almost gone.
Okay.
Thank
no problem.
you, everyone.
Okay. Join the group. I will upload the video, and you can review it tomorrow or the next day, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for letting me attend.
Okay, and set your schedule. We do this every Wednesday,
Oh, okay,
6
great.
p.m., okay?
How long does it normally last?
However long it takes.
Oh, okay.
Time, you notice time run by really fast?
Yeah.
It's 2
Yeah.
hours.
I didn't want to make it go longer with my comments, but I thought it was
No,
good.
no, no, no. Your comment actually contribute to other people's learning and my own learning. It is only through your comment that I know that I'm getting across. So
Okay.
I'm very sad when people don't say anything. I
Oh,
really am. You know, whether it's good comment or bad comment, it is a good question. So set your intention to be more interactive next time.
oh.
Okay? Yeah.
Thank you. Got to go. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. See you next
Bye.
week. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, okay. Bye bye. Feel free to call me anytime.
Yep.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. So we are going to talk about wisdom. Okay. Even though wisdom is a intangible, non-material aspect of life, let's see if we can materialize it. But before we materialize it, we are going to develop it. Okay. Now the idea is, what the from a materialistically speaking perspective, what does a person of wisdom look like? What does wisdom look like? Okay, and we understood from the reality triangle is that everything has the physicality aspect to it. There's an energy aspect to it, which give rise to the physicality, and an important information aspect that give rise to everything. Okay. King Solomon must have had some good information within himself about wisdom. King Solomon must have had some knowing, some believing, some understanding about wisdom that give him the great wealth and relationship that he had. He manifested in 300 wives and 700 concubines and trillions of dollars of worth of material and non-material possession. So let's find out what are the information within King Solomon or within anybody with regard to wisdom. Okay, so we're going to define the information aspect of wisdom. Okay, so I'm going to read it. Should I read it? Yeah, I'll read it. Okay, it'll help me practice writing as well. Let me see. So wisdom, I'll write it. I'll write the definition with you guys. My drawing and my writing has improved. I'm proud of that. Okay. Okay. So we're going to define wisdom. Wisdom is simply understood as a concept. Right? It is a non-material concept. So wisdom is simply understood as a concept, pointing to the state of inner awareness okay, Wisdom is simply understood as a concept, pointing to the state of inner awareness. What kind of state of inner awareness? State of inner awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. Okay? 5 levels of wisdom, 5 state of inner awareness. Whereas previously, traditionally, we have this vague conception of wisdom. We kind of see certain people, we think, okay, they're wise, but we are not able to put words to it. How do we define it? Here, we make it clear, we make it concise, and we make it simple. It is just an inner state of awareness, or a state of inner awareness within a person. Okay, it's a state of awareness. We talk about awareness and perception. We talk about inner cognition. To expand our awareness, to expand our perception is to expand our wisdom. Okay, so it is simply understood as a concept pointing to the state of inner awareness corresponding to 5 levels of wisdom. Okay, so let's this is the triangle of reality of wisdom. So from an information perspective, there are 5 levels of inner awareness. Okay. Wisdom is simply understood as a concept pointing to the state of inner awareness. Okay, 5 levels of inner awareness. Okay, so let's go to level 1. Since there are 5 levels, let's begin with level 1. Okay. Let's do awareness level 1. Awareness, 2 S's. Awareness level 1 is the state of inner awareness such that just gonna put dot 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 so it's easier for us to see things, events, next long word next I'm just gonna underline phenomena, circumstances, or people. Okay, it's kind of separated so we can see more easily. Awareness level 1 is the state of inner awareness such that things, event, phenomena, circumstances, or people are right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not. Okay. So awareness of level 1 is the state of inner awareness such that things, event, phenomena, circumstances, or people are either right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not. Okay, so before we get discussed, I'm gonna write it another way to make it simpler. Okay, so when we talk about level 1, okay, level 1 awareness. So when you write the word awareness on this side. Okay, level 1 awareness include, and you see why I'm writing it this way. Right, wrong. Okay, good, bad, true, false, should not. Okay, a person of level 1 awareness has the ability to distinguish between right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not. In fact, from the time we are 3 years old, we already begin to have this awareness. We may have put our hand into a candle flame, and immediately we come to an awareness that it is bad to put our hand in the candle. From a very young age, our parent tells us certain things are right, certain things are wrong. So we come to an awareness of right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not very early in life. And we maintain this awareness throughout our lives. It helps us survive in this world. Okay? If we don't have an awareness of right and wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not, we tend to run into trouble. Right? If we have the awareness that when you're driving and we come to a red light, we should stop for the red light. If we are going to school and getting good grade, you get good reward. So basically, the awareness about right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not, can be said that we have a ability to distinguish. Okay, distinguish. We have ability to distinguish between right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not. If we cannot distinguish between right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, is when we get into trouble. If we have been scammed or deceived by somebody out of money, then we did not have an awareness of right or wrong at that time. Somebody tricked us or scammed us, right? Or the first time that we put our hand in the fire, we did not have an awareness yet about putting our hand in the fire burns and it's bad. then we experience the price of not having that awareness. Okay. However, having awareness about right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, should or should not, does not equate to wisdom yet. It only becomes wisdom when we are proactively choosing right over wrong, good over bad, true versus false, and should instead of should not. If we know that putting our hand in the fire is bad, and we still put our hand in the fire, we have the awareness, but that's no wisdom, right? If we know that when you get to the stoplight, you should stop for the red light, but you don't, then that's no wisdom. You can get into an accident, you get arrested. If somebody's trying to deceive us and we still let ourselves be deceived, if we know that's a bad situation and we still allow ourselves to do it, then it can be said that we have no wisdom, even though we have the awareness. Right? If we know that smoking is bad for our health, yeah, that's right and wrong. We know we have the awareness of right and wrong with respect to smoking in our health, but we continue to smoke, and we can say there's no wisdom. So with wisdom, so it's on this side we say awareness. On this side we're going to write the word wisdom. Okay. With wisdom, we choose the right instead of the wrong. With wisdom, we choose the good instead of bad. With wisdom, we choose truth instead of falsehood. We choose what we should do instead of what we should not do. So this is really a proactive choice. With wisdom, there is proactive choice. Okay. When we look at another person and they behave a certain way, we immediately have that's the right thing to do, that's a bad thing to do. That's a good person, that's a bad person. That is an immediate awareness that we have about another person. But a person of wisdom can choose to look for that which is good about another person instead of focusing on that which is bad about them. A person of wisdom will help a person to go the right way instead of focusing on punishing the bad, the wrong. A person of wisdom will acknowledge the 99.99 things that an employee perform every day that is right, instead of focusing on the one time they make a mistake. A person of wisdom recognizes that for the most part, every single day our employee comes into our work, and let's say 8 hours or whatever, they spend 7.5 hours doing things right. And that thing that they do right contribute value to our organization, to our business. It carries our business forward, and that we should acknowledge them for the common thing that they do every single day. Yeah, occasionally a person will give 110%, and you definitely should acknowledge that 110%. But also know that if you acknowledge the 110% of the extraordinary thing that a person does, you may indirectly cause the other people to feel bad about not performing on the same level. There's a negative consequence of promoting elitism or merit when it comes to like a workplace environment. Everybody gives 99.9% of their effort in keeping the organization moving forward. But if we only focusing on the few individual that outperforms everybody else, great, it'll reinforce that person, but it also indirectly causes the other people to feel jealous, they feel unappreciated. you cause them to go negative. The other people to go negative. And so you're elevating one person, but eventually you're gonna have to deal with the other 99% who has gone, felt left out, unappreciated, taken for granted. But a person of wisdom recognizes that everybody is actually giving 99.99% of their time all the time. And you make it a habit of acknowledging the normal, mundane thing that they do. In fact, if we acknowledge the right thing that they do all the time, every day, then they will focus on doing that more. And when they focus on doing the right thing more, they have no time to do the wrong thing. All the patient, all the employee who comes in on time, yeah, reward them for coming in on time. And guess what? They will continue to go in on time and they won't have time to go coming late. Wisdom level 1. Powerful, powerful stuff. Everybody has an awareness of right and wrong, good or bad, true or false, but it takes a person of wisdom to focus on that which is good about another person. Okay? Proactive choice, right? When you proactively choose the right instead of the wrong, choose the good instead of the bad, choose the true instead of the false, choose, what you should do instead of what you should not do, that is considered wisdom. You light up the candle in your house of holistic health and holistic wealth. That is how you truly build an organization, when you just recognize the normal thing that people do all the time, every day, because they are contributing values. That is how you infuse positive energy. That is how you prevent burnout. Because if you focus only on the merit of the one of two individuals who outperformed other people, eventually you're going to have to pay for the workers' comp for the other 99 people who are burning themselves out. If we take care of a person's energy level by, feeding them positive energy on a normal basis, then they will last a long time. Okay? That is the favorable source concept. So you basically proactively choose the favorable source concept. What we know about another person, what we believe about another person, what we understand about another person, those are source concepts. Same thing about ourselves. A person of wisdom will acknowledge himself or herself for all the mundane thing that they do, for the accomplishment that they do that may not be exceptional. But every time we acknowledge and appreciate ourselves for doing the right thing, for doing the good thing, for being true, then we infuse ourselves with positive energy. Our energy level is going to go up. We're going to attract more positivity into our life. A person of wisdom will be grateful for everything that they have and not waste time expecting things that they don't have. Okay? A person of wisdom, when it comes to, let's say, an argument, okay, sometimes we have undesirable circumstances. Another participant say, what happened if we attract undesirable things? Okay? We say, okay, we already attract undesirable things, that's because that's part of our fortune at that moment. Our energy level is attracting an undesirable thing. If somebody says something to us that is undesirable, and we have level 1 awareness, that undesirable, that right or wrong, and if we engage in an argument about being right or being wrong, we may win the argument. We may be more intelligent. We may win an argument, but we win an argument and we can lose a friend. We win an argument and we can lose a spouse. We win an argument and we can lose a business partner. So a person of wisdom recognizes there is a greater benefit to, let's say, relationship instead of winning an argument. You can win an argument and lose a friend. You might want to write that down if you never heard of that. In a marriage relationship, people ask, okay, what's the secret when people ask a man, what's the secret to your happy marriage? And the man would say, the wife is always right. right? A wise man will say, the wife is always right. It is not to say that you go inferior in your human construct. It is not to say that you adopt a stance of inferiority to accept that which is wrong, but it is a wisdom statement to say that there is something more valuable than winning an argument. When a man says the wife is always right, what he's saying is that, well, first of all, you can recognize, you can appreciate the fact that she's still talking with you. The alternative is she won't argue, you just leave. If we win an argument enough against the wife, she'll find somebody else to talk to. That is no wisdom. Same thing with our children. If we win an argument against our children, they'll find somebody else to talk to. You see a lot of children nowadays, they may grow up 18 years old, they may move away, and they don't call. They don't visit. Because the parent is always win. They're always telling them what to do. But the person of wisdom recognize the value beyond, the right or wrong. They'll pick the right things to do, and they'll recognize that there's something even more right than being right. We'll talk more about magnanimity. We'll talk, when we get into level 2, awareness and wisdom from an energetic level later. Okay. Any question or impression about level 1 so far? Ron seems excited.
Yeah, I just had about the triangle of reality. I kind of had that experience today at work.
Okay, please, sir.
I'm training somebody new on a job, and I knew the information, but in the middle, I forgot the middle of the energy for the, I knew the information and I knew the end result. But in between, for so many years, I've done this job that I've forgotten how to do it. I did everything by shortcuts, but I forgot how to do the actual way. And instead of giving him the shortcuts, I wanted him to know the right way. So I had to look for the information or the actual way to do the job. And I just found the triangle of reality that kind of tied into that because of the fact that I know the information, but I didn't want to give him the wrong information. So it's kind of to do with wisdom as well. I didn't want to give him the wrong information or he would not do the job correctly. So
yeah,
it kind of all tied in with reality and the wisdom.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Back when I was in high school and I was studying math, I was studying calculus, and then the teacher will do two things. The teacher will give you a formula for a certain, math equation, integration and all that stuff. The teacher will give you the formula, but at the same time, he will explain how you derive that formula from more basic stuff. Most students will memorize the formula and they'll take the test. But there is a very small, say 2% of the student will take the trouble of studying the derivation, how to derive the equation, so that they don't have to memorize the equation. And those people will never get the answer, because at any time, any test, they can always derive it from the basic. They know the source concept. There are people who memorize the formula. Yeah, they may get it right on the test, but subsequent tests later, they'll forget. When they don't understand the source concept and they just use the shortcut, the formula, they forget the fundamentals. It is the student who excels are the one who take the trouble to derive the equation on their own using the step-by-step. Okay. Yeah.
I had seed implanted in me, but my end result was, and I knew the end result, just the middle was kind of short version.
Okay.
But I did not want him to know the short version stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. The effort you take now is going to save much later, right?
Yes.
Because we give people the shortcut, and at some point the energy will go down low and they don't know how to bring it back up because they have no source concept.
Yes.
If they have the source concept, they have the knowledge, then the belief and their understanding will be much more stable, much more enduring. and it'll save us a lot of energy and effort in the long run. It is an investment in the awareness and perception of an individual that will help transform them from the get-go. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Awareness versus wisdom. Okay. So let's, what we want is we want to go from awareness to wisdom. Okay. We want to go from the ability to distinguish to a proactive choice. Okay, so let's go to level 2. Okay, level 2. Okay, we're still, we're still in the conceptual basis. Okay, we're still in the information corner of the triangle of reality of wisdom. And so level 2 awareness. Okay. Level 2 awareness is the inner awareness such that the root cause of life begins with the self. Okay. I just like to use the square root symbol. The inner awareness such that the root cause of life begins with the self. Okay, comma. From the seed of mental images of the person not from the outside, the mental images, instead of the person, we're going to use the word inside the person. Inside the person, not from the let's do it, not from the object outside of them. Okay, it's a little bit wordy, but level 2 awareness is the inner awareness such that the root cause of life begins with the self, comma, from the seeds of mental images inside the person, not from the object outside of them. No. Okay, remember that interaction about the pen, right? What is this? This is a pen or a marker. We write it. It is a pen or a marker, not because it is a pen or a marker, but it is because we have a preconceived notion that it is a pen or a marker. So we see that as a pen or a marker. A little puppy dog will see the same thing. It won't see a pen or marker because it does not write with it. A puppy dog will see that as a toy or a bone and it'll chew on it because the puppy dog has a different preconceived notion, a different mental images from within them that will give it meaning. So, okay. So basically a person of level 2 awareness has the awareness that objects, the meaning of objects is from within themselves. Furthermore, okay, so furthermore, let's do a person. Now we say a person of level 2 we're going to go over to wisdom. Okay, so awareness and wisdom. Yeah, this has to do with wisdom. That's fine. Person of level 2 wisdom. And now we're going to wisdom. Person of level 2 hang on. Sorry. Still awareness. So let's change that. Okay, a person of level 2 awareness level 2 does not expect changes from external circumstances. But is clearly aware of the need to change from within the inner being. Okay. A person of level 2 awareness, basically a restate of the definition of level 2 awareness. A person of level 2 awareness does not expect changes from external circumstances, but is clearly aware of the need to change from within the inner being. Okay, one more. So we're still talking about the person of level 2 awareness. So we're going to just use the word is a person who has the inner conviction. Inner conviction that to expect changes in others is the beginning of suffering, comma, I'm going to do semicolon, whereas changing oneself, let me say themselves, is the beginning of happiness. Okay, put that in quote. powerful, powerful statement. Is a person who has the inner conviction that to expect changes in others is the beginning of suffering, whereas changing oneself is the beginning of happiness. So read the whole thing again. Level 2 awareness is the inner awareness such that the root cause of life begins with the self. From the seeds of mental images inside the person, not from the object outside of them. A person of level 2 awareness does not expect changes from external circumstances, but is clearly aware of the need to change from within the inner being, change their cognition, change their inner state, change the way they see things. Is a person who has the inner conviction that to expect changes in others is the beginning of suffering, whereas changing oneself is the beginning of happiness. Okay, so like before, let's sort of summarize it in an outline form for quick reference. Level 2. From an awareness, level, root cause begin with self. Okay? And we can put that in quote, in parentheses, no blame. If the root cause of life begin with me, then there's no blame. If the root cause of life begin with that person, then there's no need to blame other people. Right? Remember the formula for the root cause of life? Right? All the outcomes in life is a result of all the choices that we've made. All the choices that we've made is a compatibility with who we are. Okay, or we like it, we made those choices. And at the time of our choosing, that is the best choice that we could have made given what we knew at that time. Whatever source concept that we have about a choice enabled us to make that choice, and that is the best that we have at that time. Everybody make choices for their own benefit, for their own good. After the fact, okay, afterward, and our awareness and perception improve. Like if the choice turns out to have negative consequences, then yeah, we have new awareness, we have new learning, we have new lessons, then we can go back and say, oh, that is a bad choice. It gave me undesirable circumstances. But at the moment of choosing, the choice is the best that we could have made. That's all we knew. And so there's no need to blame ourselves or blame anyone. From a religious and spiritual perspective, our energy at that level is where we are at that level. We make the choice because it is a compatible energy match with who we are, with our good fortune, with our energy of good fortune, with our energy of wisdom, merit. And so we make that choice based on what we knew best at that time. And there's no need to blame. Okay, so another aspect of the awareness that we mentioned earlier. So, oops, green. Changes need to be from within. Okay. Not from outside. Okay. That is level 2 awareness. Root cause of life begins with me. And when it comes to us, the formula for the cause of life, and the cause of life begin with me. When we just look at it, in general, from a philosophical standpoint, the root cause of life begin with the self, not anybody else. Let's use an example. Oh, let's hang on. Move on just a little bit to the wisdom part. Okay. So a person of wisdom is simply of level 2 wisdom. It's a different color. The difference between an awareness of wisdom, since we have the awareness of root cause of life begin with the self, that what do you do? How do you use wisdom? We proactively. Once again, wisdom has to do with proactive choice, right? Proactively create new positive images. Whereas in level 1 wisdom, we proactively choose the good within a person. We proactively choose to do the right thing. That which is available to us in our awareness, we choose the good, the positive, the right thing to do. With wisdom, it is creation. Something that's not even there before. Something that's not even there. You create. Okay, you create new mental images or you make changes. Therefore, when we change images, is, let's say to change image is to change life. That is wisdom. A person who of level 2 wisdom proactively create new images or changing whatever negative image into brand new positive images. A young boy goes to school and he has trouble paying attention. Nowadays, a lot of kids have trouble paying attention in school. Won't listen to the teachers, won't learn anything. And so a teacher sends a letter to his mother. The teacher sends his letter to his mother, and after reading the letter, the mother decides to take the boy out of school. Instead of letting him stay in public education, she educate him herself, find tutors and find other ways to educate the boy. The boy asked his mother, "What did the teacher say in the letter? Why are you taking me out of school?" The mother said, "Well, the teacher told me that your level of intelligence and wisdom is beyond the school's ability to teach. There's nothing for us to offer to your son. He's too smart. It is better if you find more advanced education for your son." And so what that mother does is she subject him to alternative education, other ways of educating and tutoring. And that boy grew up to be a great inventor, a person who contribute to humanity. He revolutionized the way we experience light. That boy was Thomas Edison. As one day when his mother died, Thomas Edison went back and he discovered the old letter in his mother's possession after she passed away. He opened up the letter, and the letter said, "Your son is incapable of studying. He has no intelligence. He cannot learn anything. He cannot pay attention." What the mother did, she didn't take that letter literally. She did not accept the mental images that her son was incapable of learning. She didn't accept the idea that her son was not intelligent. She created brand new mental images, and she implanted those brand new images in the boy. So he grew up thinking that he was exceptionally smart, that he was a genius, and he lived that reality. And therefore, we have electrical light bulb. Thomas Edison, because his mother refused to accept the negative image. Not only did she saw the potential of whatever that was good in him, but she created brand new mental images. She saw a genius instead of a boy with attention deficit disorder. I had the fortune to experience this myself in reality. So I have, I practice an energy meditation practice, and in the practice, there's ability to help people balance their body, balance their mind and their spirit, and they get healthy. And oftentimes, parents of autistic children will come asking for help, asking the master, asking energy practitioner to help balance the energy of their autistic children with attention deficit disorder. And so one day this mother comes very, very stressful, very stressed out. She comes and she brings her son, and she's telling us all this negative thing, that he gets into trouble, he won't listen, he bites other kids, he has changed a dozen schools and nobody will accept him anymore. Please help our son. And the master of this meditation center, while we were talking to the mother, I was there myself, I noticed the boy, he was walking around and was just looking at his in the room. And in the room there was a projector. We project images into the wall. There was a projector. And he noticed the projector still have a little bit of wrapping on it. He tore the wrapping, crumbled up, and tossed it into the trash. His mother had no idea he would do it. She wasn't looking at him. She was busy telling us all the bad things about him. And so after hearing the mother complain about her son and asking the master to treat him, the master said, "There's nothing wrong with this kid." He is a genius waiting to express himself. He walked around the room and he saw a need for a certain order in the room. That projector has been sitting there for years. There's a bit of packaging tape on it, and nobody saw that, but he saw it. He saw a need to put things in order. That is a mark of genius. And so the master say, "Send him home." I'm not going to treat the boy. There is nothing wrong with him. The master saw a different mental image about this supposedly autistic boy. Instead, he saw a mark of genius. Level 2 wisdom. Before this, another example, before this teaching, my wife had a different mental images about her son. He plays game too much. He won't pay attention. Think like that. He won't listen. Typical parent, typical children, right? At his age, he's now 8. We started learning this philosophy about 2 years ago. So by then he was about 4, 5, 6 or whatever. And so my wife's mental image of our son was not favorable. Her mental images was not positive. Her source concept was not favorable with him. And so she had a little bit of difficulty with our son. He won't listen to her. One day, my wife picks up my son from school. And his teacher came out and said, "Oh, are you Dux?" Mom, right? My son's name is Duke. Do you know that Duke is a great student? He raises his hand, he participates in class, he turns in his homework, and he answers questions. And then my wife experienced a moment of realization. Aha. My son's teacher saw a completely different image of my son. Whereas my wife saw him as, troublesome, didn't listen. His teacher saw him as a good student, one who listened, one who contribute, lively, smart student. And from that moment on, my wife came to a realization that, oh, positive image is something that comes from within, not from without, not from the son. He's the same kid, but a different person see him completely differently. And so from then on, both my wife and I, we have proactively create new images, right? We change our image about our son and thereby changing our relationship with our son. A couple of days ago, we had an air filter in the house. And we have never told him to do anything with the air filter. Usually we're the one who changed the air filter, but on his own, he saw the air filter change the light from green to red. And he understood that green to red, meaning the filter was getting dirty. And he, on his own, took out the filter, went into the bathroom and cleaned the filter. Having learned this knowledge, we acknowledge him as a talent asset in the home. We had never told him to do that, and yet he does it himself. We are now proactively, we acknowledge him as a talent asset. We tell him, wow, son, that is a sign of a responsible and mature person. Our relationship with our son has transformed because we have allowed ourselves to create new positive images. He is a talent asset. He is a mature boy. He's going to be the person who contribute value to society, and we no longer see any problem. I used to punish my son. I let my human nature, my anger get in the way. I punish my son when he doesn't do what I say. But now I've changed and I have become more tolerant, more accepting. Today, he came home and said, Dad, my tooth has fallen. Little kid, the teeth, the baby teeth falls out. And I told him, oh, good. That is a sign of maturity. The baby tooth fell out. You are no longer a baby. So now you get to be a mature boy. Maturity comes with responsibility, comes with integrity. Not only are you no longer a baby, you get to enjoy things and do things that big kids get to do. And you will be a responsible adult. And guess what he said? I'm already responsible. That's his response. I gave him an affirmation. He said, I'm already responsible. I'm no longer a baby. So we create our own reality with wisdom level 2. Okay. Okay. So with wisdom level 2, and wisdom level 1, we protect our own energy. When we go positive, we choose positive images. When we are born into this world, we are born into a family that is an energetic, compatible match with who we are, both in a emotional level as well as on a spiritual level. When we're born, there is no brain to remember anything. If we accept the Buddhist perspective of multiple lifetime, we're coming back into this lifetime. When we die, when our body disintegrates, we can't take our memory with us because there's no brain to remember anything. But when we die, when our body disintegrates, they retain an energy charge. That energy charge, that spiritual energy charge, is positive or negative, depends on what we have done in this lifetime, how we have accumulated and cultivated our being. Okay. both in terms of our emotional level as well as in our spiritual merit of how we can help other people, we retain that energy level. Christianity call it the soul. If we, the moment before we die, if we have high energy, then our soul go up. If we don't go up, we get to go back into purgatory, which is this life. In purgatory, this life, we get to pay for our crime, which is, the sin that we commit. We pay in terms of experiencing negativity, right? Pain and suffering. We pay for our sin. And this is an opportunity. This life is a chance to cultivate ourselves to become better and more worthy of going up. And so when we go in, we enter this world, right? Wherever we enter in a family that has good fortune or bad fortune, it is a vibrational match for who we are. Christianity explained that it's original sin, okay? And so when we enter this world, we may not remember our past lifetime. It is because of a Buddhist perspective of, I'm just going to share this one last thing before we end tonight. Okay, on a spiritual level, okay, on a spiritual and religious perspective, we already talked about the scientific perspective and the common sense morality. But the in a Buddhist perspective, okay, there is the idea of insulating veil of ignorance, meaning we are born into this world and we don't know, we don't remember our past lifetime. Because if we did, we would not make the same mistake. We would choose better. But because, when we enter this world, we're just tiny little vibrational energy particle. We can't retain any memory. Later on, as our brain develops, there are ways to access our past lifetime. Okay, we'll talk about level 4 wisdom later. But the veil of ignorance prevents us from memory, from forgetting, from remembering our past life. We forget our original sin. Okay, original sin is a Christian perspective, but it is the sin that we carry. It is a negative energy, negative spiritual energy that we carry into this lifetime from past lifetime. If we enter this lifetime with a lot of negativity, a lot of sins, we can get to pay for it in terms of negative circumstances in life, undesirable circumstances, poor health, troubled relationship, bad finances. And in order to protect ourselves against negativity, protect ourselves against original sin, in order to maintain positive energy so that we can go up, to maintain balance and positive energy, because ultimately we want the next lifetime to be better. Or for some of us, we want to be released from purgatory, right? The Buddhists want total liberation. We don't have to come back again and again. Well, the Catholic and Christian, we want to be liberated from purgatory as well. The only way to be liberated from purgatory or from the wheel and cycle of birth and rebirth is to go positive and balanced in our emotional and spiritual energy. Positive emotion help us attract positivity, good circumstances, desirable events. Positive spirituality, we accumulate that by helping other people. And in the 24-hour sharing, we talk about ways that we can help other people. We give away gifts. There's 7 great acts of giving, or 7 great important gifts of life. Okay. In the Bible, when a rich man asked Jesus, how do I go to heaven? What do I need to do to go to heaven, to enter the kingdom of God? Jesus said, give away your fortune. The rich man didn't understand what he was saying. He thought about giving away his material fortune, so he became sad because it was attached to his material fortune. But the Buddhist perspective taught us that we have an infinite amount of treasure, a great vast fortune that we can give again and again and again and again. And it is not the money or the material fortune. It is the gift of our smile, the gift of our speech, the gift of our eyes, the way we look at a person. We use level 1 wisdom, and we look at a person from a positive perspective. That is a gift of our gaze, a gift of our seeing, the way we look at another person positively. We see an autistic child as a genius. That is a gift of our gaze, a gift of our seeing. When we smile, how many times can we smile a day for how many people? Infinite amount of time. And we lose nothing. It is an infinite source of treasure that we have within our inner being to give away. We can give speech, the gift of our speech. How many times can you say encouraging, loving thought, compassionate thought, hopeful words? Infinite amount of time to infinite amount of people. How often can we give the gift of our heart, the heart of gratitude? Look around, be grateful for everything and everyone. Your presence is my present. You don't need to do anything. I am grateful for you being here. I honor your presence. I honor your participation even better because that helped me understand. That's the gift of your heart. The gift of your spirit. What spirit? Spirit of magnanimity or being magnanimous. Latin words for great spirit. A spirit so great that you can be accepting and tolerating of everyone, irregardless of their right or wrong or true or false or good or bad. The gift of your generosity, the gift of your spirit. The gift of your body, your hands and feet, helping hands. You help people. How many times can you help other people? As often as you can. And finally, the gift of your seat, which is your position or your status in life, your station in life. If you have money, help people achieve money. If you have knowledge, give the gift of knowledge. If you have great health, teach other people the source concept, the mental images, and the understanding of health. If you have a happy marriage, give people the source concept of happy marriage. Help people believe in happy marriage. Give them the reality of happy marriage. Right? If you want the world to raise children to be successful, happy people of integrity and character, if you have that reality, give them your reality. That is the gift of your position, gift of your status. You can give infinitely many times, and after a while, your energy goes up, and we go up. Okay? Lesson, impression, realization before we end today. What do you think, Ron? I appreciate Master Tong for giving us your emoticon. Okay, I know you're listening, even though it's not convenient for you to be on a camera. I am very honored by your presence. It is not every day that we get master level instructor their present. We can already feel, just him being here, good energy, right? He didn't say anything yet, but I get the energy from him just having his name show up on the Zoom.
Yes, Frank, I have so much appreciation for you. I enjoy your sharing. I could listen to you all day. No, it's good. I really enjoy it. But I've been learning some Vietnamese, and I'd like to share something with you.
Okay.
It may not be perfect, but I'm doing my best.
Okay.
Tôi tên là Ron. Tôi sinh năm 1963. Năm nay tôi 20. Tôi đang sống và làm việc tại Canada. Tôi mới học tiếng Việt khoảng 2 tuần với bạn Zoom. Hốc mentor sao.
Wow. I think I understand 99.99% of that.
That's good.
Wow,
I'm
not bad.
slowly getting.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Did you learn the source concept of the sixth tone?
Yes, that's what I'm
Okay,
trying to learn.
the
I see the
sixth tone.
symbols, but
Right.
I'm so used to looking at just the letters, I don't notice the symbols all the time. So
Okay. 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 Can I share some source, just, build on what you already have? You're great, but I can help you build on some of that.
sure, I'd
Since
love it.
you're a great student, I don't know if anybody told you, but Vietnamese is a tonal language. A tone, when you think of a tone, it's like music. So when you speak Vietnamese, don't speak Vietnamese. Sing it.
Sing it. Okay.
Sing Vietnamese. Okay. So let's let's just say the word so there are six tones. Okay, so there's the sharp tone, there's a sort of soft
Hắc,
there you go, and
oh
good.
yeah,
Heroin, okay. What else?
hối,
Good. What else?
nhã,
Awesome. Okay.
nắng.
Nặng. Okay. What does the word nặng mean? Do you know?
Uh, it's short.
No, the word nặng literally mean heavy.
Heavy. Oh, so it's
Yeah,
low. Low,
it
yeah.
is heavy. So when you say the word nặng, see you can sing the heaviness. Can we get nặng?
Nắng,
There you go. You got it.
nắng,
Nặng. There you go.
nắng. Yeah,
Yeah, don't go up. Heavy. Try
nắng,
it. Nặng.
nắng.
Yeah. Okay. The word sắc, it means short. Short. When you get cut, okay. Say the word so let's say we have a with a sharp. Okay, so how would you say that one?
À,
Okay. I want you to go up.
à,
There you go. See? You just sing it up. You just
à,
raise the pitch. Ah,
à,
ah.
à,
Yeah. Ah, ah. Just go sharp as you can. Ah.
à. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one, when I think it means, to descend. Okay, how would you say this one? If it's an A, then how would you say that one?
À,
Ah,
à,
ah. Sing it. Ah, feels
à,
so good. You get to lie
à.
down. Ah,
It's like you're relaxing yourself.
ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is obviously a question mark. How would you say an A with a question mark?
À,
Oh, yeah.
à, à.
Yeah. We're gonna skip this one for now. You can, if for
Yeah.
beginner, it sounds similar. So did you write down an introduction, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's reread that introduction, singing the tone.
Singing the song.
The tone, yeah, every time you get to a tone, I want you to actually, do what we just did. Okay.
Tôi tên
Okay.
là.
So there's a neutral tone. Right? But there's nothing when there's no tone, it's called a neutral tone, right?
Yeah.
Tôi, da, 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 da. When it's neutral, it doesn't go up or go down. So you want to make sure that your neutral is also neutral. So when you say tôi, sing tôi, try that.
Tôi
Okay.
tên.
Yeah.
Tôi tên là Ron.
You, Ron, there's no tone in Ron. So Ron should sound the same as
Ron.
tôi, should sound the same as tên, tôi, tên,
Tôi
là
tên là Ron.
Ron.
Cool.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
keep on going. Let's say the whole
Oh,
thing.
keep going.
Yeah.
Tôi sinh năm
Okay. Sin năm. Yeah, they're all neutral. Okay, good. Keep on going.
1963.
Okay. So the first one has a tonal marking. What is this tonal marking again?
Một,
It is
low, một,
heavy.
một,
There you go.
một, chín,
Oh,
sáu,
okay, what is that? What is the next one? The next one is what?
chín,
There you go. Go all the way up. Come on, keep on going.
chín,
There you go. 9,
sáu, ba,
1, 9, 6,
sáu,
3.
ba,
Rồi, đóng bạc. 3. Sing it, sing it,
ba,
sing it. 3.
một, chín, sáu, ba.
Beautiful. See?
Yeah.
Okay, keep on going. Okay, what else?
Năm, nấy, tối, hai, mười, tôi,
Tuổi.
tôi,
Okay.
đánh, sống, sống.
Okay, the sharp sign say it with the correct tone.
Which one? Oh,
The
sống,
one with the
sống,
song, yeah. Yeah, just go sharp.
sống.
There you go. See?
Tôi đang sống và làm việc,
Uh-uh. Next one is what? It's a descending.
việc, việc, việc.
Mhm.
Tại Canada,
Okay, yeah. Canada. When you speak in the
Canada,
Vietnamese say what
yeah,
Canada, they say different Canada. Okay,
yeah,
it's a neutral tone.
yeah. Tôi, mỗi, học tiếng Việt khoảng 2 tuần.
Okay, you do that question mark. Mm-hmm.
Với bạn dùng học mentor sao?
You're cheating. So work on the tone, okay? Work on
Yeah,
that. Okay, if you want you work on the tone, that's your source concept.
yes.
Okay. Sing it. Literally sing it. Tôi
Yeah.
và hmm.
Keep
Okay.
all the tones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, good job. Wow, Ron, amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, great energy from
Yeah.
you. I think your wife will be very proud.
I'm getting ready for my interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it. Okay, we'll see you
Okay.
next
Well, thank you
Wednesday.
very much, Frank. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, talk to you later.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good week.
You too.